Hi, I'm Sheila McManus. I'm one of the board chairs at the Teaching Center here at the University of Lethbridge, and welcome to another Ed Talk. And today I'm talking with Lisa Doolittle, who's the new incoming Board of Governors teaching chair. Thanks for coming to talk to me today, Lisa.
That's a great pleasure.
So what made you want to be a Board of Governors teaching chair?
Well, I guess initially I came to the university because of my artistic research, and I wanted to combine artistic research and intellectual research. But increasingly, after being here all these years, I have become more and more interested in the teaching part. And I thought the teaching chair would give me a chance to really focus on what's going on. Also, I don't believe there's been a teaching chair from the Faculty of Fine Arts.
No, you are the first. Historic moment, you are the first.
Yeah, and of course we in the fine arts contend that we teach very differently from everybody else, right? And to some extent that's true, but to some extent it's not true. And I'm really interested to have that conversation, because I think we have a lot to offer, but also the research that's already going on at the Teaching Center has a lot to offer us. I hope that I can spread around the very fabulous things that we've found out in the fine arts about teaching to a broader audience.
Yeah, and you were also a teaching fellow a few years ago.
Right.
What did you think of that experience, and maybe comment on it? Was it a bit of a stepping stone for you into the chair?
Absolutely. So the teaching fellow, I think we have sort of a 2-year bridging appointment, but 1 year that we're really there. And I guess the first thought is, oh, more meetings, you know. But what happens when you become a teaching fellow is that you get brought into this community that's made up of people from all over campus, every faculty, every department, I mean, you know, is represented through the faculty. And I've always enjoyed that. I mean, a lot of my work has been crossing faculties. And so I thought, oh, of course, here's another group where I can talk to colleagues from all over the university. And the conversation is so different, and it's dynamic because people are discovering things. It's not same old that you have within your faculty all too often. For me, the stepping stone was partly, oh, what a wonderful community I'm coming into. That was a huge, recognition for me. Oh, I like this. And also the second thing was that the Teaching Center is beautifully staffed. So when at those meetings, when we would make suggestions or we would have ideas about doing things, then there was this staff funded by, the administration of the university to make it so. And that was very exciting for me, that we would see action happening, quite quickly. And I thought that was really fabulous. Plus, I have just a lot of admiration for other people in the teaching chair position who, head up those meetings, yourself included.
Well, thanks.
And I think, that was, it was really fun to get to know, other people's perspective on teaching, of course.
Yeah, it's this immediate entree into this fantastic multidisciplinary world on campus. Like you say, too often we wind up, because of our research specializations, you've got a home department or whatever, and you can wind up kind of really stuck physically and mentally in that place and in that research and that discipline, and that's completely fine. But it's so much fun to, in fact, make friends from all over campus and physically different parts of the campus. And as you say, discover what is really unique about, say, how you guys teach in fine arts, but then also the similarities between the kind of teaching you do and the kind of teaching that I do.
Yeah.
So tell me more about the kind of teaching that you do. What kinds of courses do you teach? How would you describe some of the central passions of your teaching career?
So, it's always a journey if you've been teaching a long time. I really began teaching toddlers. I taught in recreation. I was always an arts person. I was always a dancer and theater person. And, I cut my teeth on playgrounds and in summer camps and that kind of thing, working with arts. So I like the hands-on. I like to get people moving. I like studio work. And so when I was hired here, that was what I was hired for. Instantly, though, opportunities became available to do other kinds of teaching. I think when we think of the fine arts, that mostly it is the studio teaching, which means people come in their movement clothes, they take their shoes off, and it's a black studio, you shut the door. and some incredible thing happens.
And you guys just go be creative.
Yeah, go
right?
be creative. Yeah, we just, it's, and it isn't really teaching, you know, you just, you just
be creative together.
And create, right. and no, that ain't so, actually. There's a lot of finesse and understanding and, real commitment to interaction with the students that happens in the studio. You're not just dealing with people's, heads. You never are. But you cannot ever think like that in a studio class because you've really got the whole person there. I mean, of course, in movement teaching, the mind and the body just have to come together. You have to figure out ways to bring it all together. Or people look like automatons, or else they look like they're stuck in their head and their body somewhere else. So I think there really are some very interesting techniques. One of the things in studio classes that you must do is you have to create a working community, because otherwise the individuals don't really feel empowered or able to bring out their best. I mean, of course, people are self-conscious and all of that. So we have many pedagogical approaches to deal with that, to allow people to open up enough that then they can create and emote and bring the body and mind together. And I think that's actually really wonderful information for other people. So one of the key things is to create a sense of trust in classrooms. So a lot of what we do, the typical idea about the drama trust fall, you fall into the arms of your classmates and that somehow makes you trust them. I guess that's one, rather hippie-ish example, but I think there are so many ways that we embed that into our teaching, and also trusting yourself. And I think that's also very interesting about the teaching that I've really noticed as I teach more and more. It's about making the student be confident enough in themselves. Like that is a huge thing in order for them to, learn or acquire more skills. There's that film Whiplash, where the whole procedure of teaching somebody to play the drums, that's an arts thing, right, is, basically throw a cymbal at his head, destroy that person's ego, and then that person can learn. Well, I'm completely on the other side of the page. It's more of a nurturing, confidence building thing. And I see that in my students here, is that the more that they feel like, oh, yes, I can do this. Oh, yes, I can trust this person. The better the work that they do, the better the work is. And the more creative they can be, and the more they can speak with a unique voice.
Right.
So this is, surely you're hearing some echoes, for researchers and for students in other disciplines. The more you develop confidence in what you know, the more you can use what you know to create more knowledge.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, I'm describing the same thing in the fine arts.
Yeah.
So studio classes are really the sort of cauldron out of which everything else has come for me. Even in dancing, you think of dance teaching being, I'll tell you what to do exactly, how to be, where to put your arm. And that's true. But in my training, that was always combined with improvisation and composition, which means you use your technique, you have a conversation with people in movement, you improvise, and also you create your own material. And so I think that's partly why I'm in this other camp. Because certainly in fine arts teaching, that very disciplined, maybe not quite as far as Whiplash, but the guru student thing, the master teacher.
Debbie Allen with her stick and fame, right? Like,
right.
Is that you banging on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, and that exists, and that works for some students and for some teachers. I'm not, throwing it in the trash can. I'm just saying that, my approach has been other than that. So, I mean, that's the kind of teaching I've done. But when I got here, there were, like I say, opportunities to do many different things. I had to teach an introduction to theater, which was a combination at that time of studio and teaching about theater history, and I found that really, really exciting. How can we combine these? How can we combine the, the intellectual and the physical and the emotional, and And that really showed me a lot of what we can do with the fine arts, with non-majors.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're in a liberal education university, right?
Yes.
And so many of the students in the beginning classes that I teach, they don't start out being, centered on, I'm going to be an actor. A lot of people are dipping their toe in the water to see if it's for them or not. And I take great pleasure in both the people who are converted to drama majors and to the people who leave the class saying, wow, I really, got a lot out of that class.
Yeah.
Even though I'm going on to be, a psychiatrist or an anthropologist.
Yeah. It's funny how often faculty seem quite critical of, first-year students and their narrow worldviews. And I think, I think the same could be said of faculty members themselves in departments which retain that narrow worldview, right? I do what I do and you do what you do, and we really have nothing in common. So I like the idea of first-year classes being able to model, especially at a lib-ed school.
Yeah.
That kind of openness. And I have to say, I think when you and I first met in the instructional skills workshop, and I want to ask you about that later on, I assumed you and I have nothing in common. There's no possibility that as teachers there's any context between us. But even just on what you were just talking about, it's, confidence, community building, active learning, critical thinking. You're doing all of that. You're just doing it in a different place, maybe. And I think it's something that I have found really inspiring about your teaching, that you've been doing all of the things that seem quite trendy and current now in pedagogical conversation and research. Sounds to me like things you've been doing in your classes for years. Something else you have cared passionately about for years is social justice. Your career has spanned an interest in Indigenous dance, biannual trips to Malawi, as well as a current major research project on social justice and the arts. Talk to me about some of the threads that have connected that for you as a teacher again.
Oh, that's such a great journey. And again, I have to thank the environment of this university and, this town, because it's a small town, it's a small university. People can talk to each other. People can leap over boundaries that in other places would seem, insurmountable. Yeah.
At a bigger university, even, right? The walls are that much higher.
And the buildings are. So here, what happened was somebody from management, we were talking, at a faculty get-together of some kind, said, I teach labor relations and you do drama. Would you ever be interested in doing a simulation? Because I think students need to see how unions and bosses, may interact. And I was intrigued and said, well, sure. And then also met the wonderful Judith Kulig from Health Sciences, who had a similar idea about community health nurses, because she was teaching people who need to learn people skills, who need to learn actual human interaction. And you can write, you have to ask open-ended questions, you have to listen, and you can learn that, and you can write that answer on an exam. What do I have to do? I have to ask. But, can you actually do it? And so we cooked up in management and in health sciences separately that I would have a group of actors that from those subject areas, they would provide ideas of scenarios that they wanted to, that they thought would be good teaching scenarios, conflicts between different people. And for example, in health sciences, community health nurses visit families in trouble or, difficult health conditions, when things change drastically, a new baby or somebody with a, terrible diagnosis or whatever. And the nurse has to intervene and deal with the health issues. But of course they have to deal with the emotions in the family as well. So, so they would provide these fabulously dramatic scenarios. And thanks to the Teaching Center's wonderful program of grants for teaching development, I was able to put together small groups of actors, work up these scenarios through improvisation, and put the actors into the health sciences and management classrooms and do interactive scenes. And there's a system called Forum Theater, put together by, long story, Augusto Boal, who was a companion of Paulo Freire, much known for his pedagogical innovations and social justice teaching. Anyways, he turned those kinds of teachings into wonderful methods in theater. And one of them was this interactive theater. So you go into the classroom, the actors begin to perform this scenario, and often it just turns out badly. We have one of the actors portray a community health nurse who actually does not ask open-ended questions, who basically messes up quite a bit. And then we turn it over to the class and we run the scene again. And students can intervene and say, stop, I know what to do. And then the student is invited right into the scene to replace that really bad actor, a good actor, being a bad nurse, to try to make the scene turn out differently. And so what happens is this wonderful inter-faculty learning opportunity, because the actors are working like mad with these new performer in the mix to improvise, to keep hold of their character. I'm still the mom who's totally freaked out by the new baby, who doesn't know how to breastfeed, who's got a husband who's, out of work, or, whatever the scene is. But this nurse is really trying hard. Am I going to believe her?
Right.
And then the nurse is just experiencing in her face, but in this safe environment where she can fail or he can fail, what it might be like in real life. So they're building actual capacities by being right in the situation to deal with very difficult, complex human situations. I mean, we did that for about a decade off and on, and in different ways, with the counseling program in nursing, with the labor relations people, and had many, fabulous failures, and and a lot of, really a lot of different reaction from students. Some students, they're not ready to perform like that. And I think sometimes that level of learning takes a while to absorb as well. And it's so different from what students are used to in high school and so on. It's so that I think some of the reactions were from that unfamiliarity. Other students just embraced it like mad, and same on the drama side. I mean, some of the drama students who participated, didn't at first see how it was contributing to their studies. So, I mean, as it went on, one of the innovations that we decided to do was to actually take, instead of having drama students invent these characters out of their heads, was to actually take them into the situations that were being described in the scenarios. So one scenario from the nursing faculty was about a drug addict in prison. And I thought, my students have no idea about that. So, we went to the correctional institution and talked to the health nurse there.
Wow.
We didn't talk to a prisoner. That was just too complicated.
Right.
I mean, none of these students had ever walked through a prison door. I had never walked through a prison door. And it was just an incredible learning experience talking to this health nurse about what it was like, where the pharmacy was, how many locks they had on it, and where does this scenario come from? And in my opinion, that was an incredible human lesson, but it was also an incredible acting lesson and incredible material for these very young people who have who may have limited life experience to deal with characters that are often much larger than their own life. To be exposed to what that's really like. And I mean, I just fell in love with that work.
Yeah.
And you can hear underneath it, getting to your social justice thing, you can hear underneath it that there's a lot of concern in this for the social underdogs. The union laborer who is getting, messed around by the boss. The family who doesn't usually access health care until this nurse walks in the door. And I think that was the beginning of really noticing how the arts could make a difference in helping young people see a bigger picture about how the world is.
Yeah. Is that how the Malawi Project started as well? Did it grow out of some of these kinds of collaborations?
Yeah, well, I mean, as soon as word gets around, and so in a long-term collaboration,
there's this crazy dance teacher who'll say yes to anything.
No, and I mean, it's like in the health sciences. They these are faculties. I mean, both management and health sciences, like in the fine arts, these are human faculties. So perhaps the links are more obvious to the arts, perhaps not. So Jean Harrowing, who works in global health, it's a kind of a crazy story, met two gentlemen from Malawi who were here from the museums of Malawi on a museum tour. And they were at the Galt Museum because they're part of the Commonwealth Museums Association, and you know that they're in Canada. They're brought here by that association to look at Canadian museums. And they asked the museum director, these Malawians, so what do you do about promoting health in your community? To the museum director, and she's like, well, what do you mean? And he says, well, in Malawi, you know, we are using museum resources to do outreach to young people around HIV prevention and malaria prevention. She's like, okay. And, you know,
That's not what museums do in North America.
Yeah, calls up the university and says, do we have anybody, you know, who is interested in HIV prevention? Well, you know, Jean Harrowing, her PhD research was nurses working in Africa. With HIV patients. And so of course she was intrigued. She goes down and meets them and, you know, says to them, well, what about getting a student exchange going, you know, so that my students who are learning about global health could actually, you know, see some of the work that you're doing. And that was where it was born. And as soon as she did that, you know, thank you, Jean. She thought of, well, we need, I can't just take students there and look at poor people and sick people. You know, that is just not on. That's not global justice. You know, that happens too much and it's too cynical, and we have to really be able to do something. And she thought one of the ways that we could make the learning more interactive and more reciprocal would be to use drama. And so then, of course, she came to me, and the rest, as they say, is history. We're going to go on our 5th trip next spring.
Wow.
So 10 years, we go every other year, 10-year relationship born out of that. And again, I think the teaching is extraordinary. We just bring together anybody from anywhere in the university. We particularly hope that fine arts students will come, particularly drama and dance students, because of many reasons. Because they are much more aware of the whole person learning and of being on the ground. You know, in Malawi, there are no desks in classrooms. In studio, there are no desks. So, I mean, it's familiar. You know, we need to do a game here. We need to, you know. And so I think, you know, what happens in the country is that we use drama and dance and song, all fine arts things, with young, well, grade 7 students in Malawi to promote health, to do prevention around malaria and HIV. They work together, students work in pairs from here with smaller and larger groups of Malawians, and they create scenarios. They create a little scene. How do you stop a mosquito biting you? Oh, well, you need a mosquito net. How do you stop mosquitoes being around your house? Well, you have to clear the area. You have to empty ponds. Anyways, it goes on and on. And we make all these little scenes, put them together jigsaw style. I didn't even know there was a word for that, but this is a pedagogical thing. Different groups work on something, one part of a topic, then you put it all together so the whole class learns the whole thing. Anyways, that's what we use. And it's just fantastic. We perform to whole communities there. And I think it's not so much the new knowledge, it's the interaction, it's the fun, it's the emotion, it's the creativity that really make the message and the learning that you really want to sink in. You know, you can hand out a pamphlet, or you can spend a few hours, you know, making these scenes, having fun. What does a mosquito look like? What do they sound like? You know, and just making so much fun. What would a mosquito net do? Oh, it would kill the mosquito. Anyways. And then, you know, when you get into HIV, there's all sorts of cultural things that you have to deal with that, you know, that our students have to learn about, because they have to listen to the Malawian students and say, really? Does that happen? And, you know, all the factors. And in nursing, it's a huge subject of conversation now. How can we teach cultural competence? Because that gets in the way of healthcare. If you don't really understand what's preventing this person from doing what they should do, you know, taking their medicine, then you cannot have good health outcomes. So again, I think that, you know, that the fine arts, that all these methods of learning that we say connect the head to the heart, right? That's the phrase. Are powerful and can work in these human situations where behavior could change, where relationships could be built, where minds could move. So, I mean, that's and that's been just a huge feeder back into my regular studio classes. It's
Yeah.
not like that's separate work.
Yeah.
It feeds right back into, okay, movement for actors.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
has affected my whole approach. And I think it's really brought home that idea that teaching is learner-centered. You know, we used to say, oh, teaching is like acting because teaching is a performance. And I think that's just so surface. You know, I think possibly in big lecture halls, and I know teachers, as do you, who are really, really great performers and great teachers together.
Yeah.
But I think that's at the surface. I mean, that's
Yeah.
also about building relationship,
Yeah.
isn't it? I think
Yeah.
you need the learner focus. The teacher needs to be able to observe and interact and continually adjust.
Yeah.
Continually adjust. What is
Because a
this group
performance
like?
can just be about a passive audience.
Yeah.
Right? And you can sit there enthralled by a fantastic performance.
Right.
But is that fostering active learning? Well, no, not always. Right? So
Yeah.
you got to think about, yes, but what goes beyond
Yeah.
simply being an amazing performer up there? Yes, that's part of the job. Yeah, but fantastic performance can just reduce your students back to being that passive audience, that passive observer, and that's not what you want.
Right, and they may say, oh, I could never know that or learn that.
Yeah.
And instead, what
Yeah.
you want in terms of social justice and in terms of really empowering students, you want the student to feel like, oh, I can do this, and I can do this,
Yeah.
and I can do this, so when I
Yeah.
graduate, I can do all of that,
It's
right?
building confidence again, which you need for critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
You took this to another whole level in this last term with your class of students with mixed abilities.
Right.
And this is something that I think was strikingly new and a huge risk, a huge leap, because universities maybe have a longer tradition of talking about cultural difference or, that kind of thing. You actually decided to push the boundary a little bit and say, what about students with different ability levels?
Right.
How did that come about? And then how did the whole project and performance work out for you as a teacher?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say universities are doing a pretty good job about physical disabilities, or so-called physical disabilities, and accommodations. I mean, we provide a lot of help, and that has really evolved.
Yeah.
And I think universities across the country are really working on that.
Yeah.
The population I got involved with, because a community organization asked me to get involved with them, is people with developmental disabilities. And so I worked off campus with a group during my sabbatical to see social justice work and the arts, if drama and dance workshops could contribute to this organization's agenda of trying to get more people with developmental disabilities jobs. That work on their employment agenda, because that's huge, that people with developmental disabilities are incredibly isolated as adults. The inclusion is happening K to 12 to a certain extent. People are working on that. But at grade 12, they kind of fall off the map.
Yeah.
They end up in these day homes. People can't really see the potential they have because they're never in a context where they can develop that potential or develop networks or relationships. So, I did that work, and I'd never worked with that, population before, but it was really an eye-opener. It was really fabulous, fun work, and those people that I worked with, took that work and ran with it. I thought, oh, well, we won't perform, it's just an experiment. And then we did 4 performances at a conference, at different meetings, and they were fantastic, And I felt like I can't let this drop. They can't do this and have no future. This happens in that population all the time. Oh, we've got this great project. Okay, see ya.
Yep.
And I thought, okay, what can I do? I'm going back full time to teaching and working on campus. So I'll bring that work on campus. So it didn't really come out of this huge, I'm going to break down the system. It was just like, these people, I want to help these people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I set up a course, and again, this university is wonderful because there's a certain amount of flexibility about what you put in your courses. That would be a movement, part of my movement series course that would be mixed abilities. And this is happening in the profession. There are mixed abilities, dance companies and theater companies, and it's quite a growing area in theater and in dance performance. So I thought, yeah, this is legitimate. We'll just do a mixed abilities course. And in the end, 18 people finished the course, and 6 were people with developmental disabilities. It wasn't, I mean, the hardness isn't in, you know, getting your head around, oh, developmental disabilities in class, how am I going to deal with them? I mean, there's a certain amount of hesitation at first. The difficulty is in the barriers that are there that we don't even know about until you try to bring people across them, which is, how can you register somebody with a different high school qualification into a 4-credit university course? And again, at the registrar's office, they bent over backwards, made it happen. They came in as open study students, and these people have, you know, passed the course, got 3 credits. I mean, they're very proud of that, and so they should be. And we had to start an inclusive education working group because I said, you know, this can't be ad hoc. There's got to be a way for people to come in here, and what is that way? And you're in the midst of exploring that, because of course things are different and they can't go into any class, and not every professor is ready. But anyway, so we had this great class, and it was part of a package because I was going to do a production that year. We have a rotation, you know, you get to do a big main stage production every few years in the department with department budget support. And I thought, oh, well, I'll do a mixed abilities production. So I thought, okay, the class will workshop the production, and then we'll do the production. And lucky thing. Lucky thing I didn't just say I'll do a production, because, you know, mixing these students, adults, you know, with disabilities, with you know, university students who sometimes have disabilities and sometimes don't, was a whole new thing. Mostly for the students, you know, and for the people with disabilities. They didn't know about each other, and it was new for me. And yeah, so we had some extra support. I had my 2 grad students, like teaching assistants in any course. One is a social work graduate student. The other one is an education graduate student who's worked in K-12 in inclusion for a decade. And so they were incredibly helpful. And then I had a visiting artist that was funded by the drama department from Calgary, who has had a decade of experience with mixed ability performance. So I had a lot of help. I certainly, you know, wasn't some kind of solitary champion, you know, doing this. And we had an awful lot of fun. And I've written about this, it changed me again as a teacher. Because you know what? You think your instructions are clear. You think people know what you've asked them to do. And I think in other classes I've realized, well, people are probably really polite and kind of look around and go along with it if they don't understand. They don't say, hey, I don't understand. But some of these people with disabilities, they would just go off to the side of the room and say, what are we doing this for? And I was like, oh, right, I didn't say what we were doing. I didn't tell them the objective, you know? And it was wonderful because it was just like, in some cases, right in my face, was like, right. Well, the reason we're doing this, and I thought, no, this is wonderful because it really made me, again, expand. You know, we have all this rhetoric about learning styles. We'll talk about the diversity of learning styles in that room. And how many ways can I skin this cat? You know, how many ways can we get to the point of, you know, building trust? Or how many ways can we get to the point of, you guys have to have, you know, a movement conversation because that's interesting to watch. And I don't know. Anyways, so I think it just deepened, I hope, my teaching abilities and my observation abilities. And then the students too. I mean, it became a help fest, you know, a support fest after a while, because that was so much the agenda. Because I said, this isn't going to work unless we all help each other. I just said to everybody right from the get-go. So we're helping each other, whatever it takes. So if you see somebody that needs a bit of support, you're going to go and do that, even if I can't see it because I'm helping somebody over here. So, I mean, in the class, there was peer-to-peer teaching. That erupted at all sorts of odd times. At first it didn't. You know, at first it was just these, you know, grad students, and we had the community organization, Lethbridge Association for Community Living, wonderful, wonderful group. All those groups are fabulous, who are working on, you know, real social change for this population. Anyways, they got a grant to hire a student to be a community liaison. So this student could talk to the families, could talk to the organization. So if something came up that was more major than we could deal in the classroom, he was there to talk to me and to talk to the family and say, okay, here's the thing. You know, if somebody had to be absent for a long period of time or whatever. I mean, because there were some pretty unusual situations. But, you know, with communication, you know, all things all things can happen, right? And communication and goodwill. So I mean, the support that was built up in the class was amazing. I'm not going to lie, some of the drama students in their journals, expressed that they felt like they weren't being, challenged, that it was too easy. And I think this is what people fear, is that, the level of instruction or the level of learning is going to go down somehow. And I would say it goes sideways, if not up, because it's a different learning. If you're in a mixed abilities class, no. We're not going to work on you as a solo performer, to make everything better just for you. In a mixed abilities class, you're learning new things. And I think we learned, like, really unique art came out of that. Really. Really, and unique ways of going about making that art came out of that. And surely in the fine arts, that's one of our objectives, is, uniqueness, creativity, new ways of doing things, innovation. So, I mean, it was a great adventure. And then, of course, doing the show, rehearsing and creating the show from scratch in last spring was really another teaching adventure, actually, and again, relying on these methods, these sort of methods that we absorbed. I mean, we didn't write them down, relying on that method and on the ensemble that we had, gave us such a great springboard, such a great foundation for creating, a show with 22 people, 8 of whom had quite major developmental disabilities. And the audience, some of the audience members who came to the show and talked to us afterwards said, I didn't know on stage who had disabilities and who didn't. The people in the show made their own characters. It was this, again, this empowerment. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be here? Here's your chance. You can be somebody here. Who do you want to be? And so we would support that. And I mean, I just, I didn't know that it was going to have so much to do with my teaching. And it so did. And I just recommend it to everybody. I think it's just a really, fabulous thing to watch this satellite support happening in your class. Everybody's on, well, I mean, not everybody all the time. And I'm, I don't want to gloss over the moments of frustration and difficulty and, but I don't want to talk about that here.
But still, I mean, really profound learning, for all of the students across all of the levels. It's not just, the students without visible disabilities having to help the others. No, they left with something profound, as did the students who were there with disabilities. They left with something profound.
I mean, we had a great moment in learning in the show. So this is a dance show. And we wanted a sense of unity at a certain point. We wanted everybody to do the waltz together. We wanted an image in the theater of this grand waltz. And Corey, my Master of Education student, Corey Makalowski, who teaches in Warner, he's a brilliant social dancer, and he loves teaching this stuff. And so we began to teach everybody how to waltz. And lo and behold, some of those people with developmental disabilities are way better social dancers than the actors. I mean, way better. So it was just a real mixture of people helping each other to be, oh yes, box step, And, when you see the thing in the show, you just think, okay, they're waltzing. But, that the image of how that came together is such a beautiful image of inclusive teaching to me. It really is. And also, I mean, we had different styles. Some of the people with disabilities responded to structure, loved the waltz. Other people, it took them forever to settle down and do that, because what they loved was just dancing their face off. In perhaps a more exaggerated frame, perhaps a larger frame, all of my students are like that. Some love the structure. Some hate the structure. They love the improvisation. And as a teacher, realizing that on this larger scale just expands, your understanding of, well, what's happening in this learning environment,
I know for me that's been something that I feel like I get this, sort of a residual tangential learning when I get to sit down and ask you how these things have gone, because it really is just an expansion of what we're already doing here. Like I see you taking these enormous risks that I think very few teachers would have the guts to ever undertake. Multiple projects, I think, over the course of your career, multiple massive risks as a teacher that most of us wouldn't have the guts to try. And yet by the end of it, they wind up not being so far removed from what we're supposed to be doing here already anyway.
Right.
What a good teacher is already doing in a normal classroom, what a small lib-ed university is already doing or claiming to do in terms of breaking down barriers.
I know you wouldn't, I'm just going to pick out this word because it's, well, what is a normal classroom?
What's a normal classroom?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And instead of complaining about,
what does normal mean anymore?
this year I've got these students that just aren't gelling, you think, there is no normal.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And I think that the efforts that we sometimes, I'm not on board as much as others with the efforts we make to sometimes weed out so that things become the way we want them to be. Mm-hmm. And I think then we're missing that Einstein. We're missing, and this is we're missing we have to bring all of these people, into the environment. We have to support, because who knows?
Yep.
I mean, who really knows? I can look at these people in an audition and say, oh, you're going to be in the theater. I'm taking you. Mm-hmm. But I would miss that person, and I've seen it over and over again. I've been here a while. Mm-hmm. That person that you just think is so hopeless, so useless, that, in the end ends up being incredibly creative and entrepreneurial or, whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah. And you never being, we think that we're open to a range of students until we're confronted with some of these challenges you faced in the last year. You think, oh, am I that open? Yeah. Are we ready for that as a university? But then, as you say, just, trying to be a little bit more flexible, trying to be a little bit more open, and then you learn so much more from your students that way.
I'm going to try and share some of this. I've got a research teaching development grant, and I'm going to try and share, I'm calling it lessons from the fine arts for the inclusive classroom, because I think some people don't have those. I mean, I just do this stuff. I've done this stuff for decades, but other teachers might not have these tools or these ways of thinking about things. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know.
And showing the connections, so I think it might be easy for people to say, oh, well, sure, Lisa does these movement and theater classes. Well, you can do that kind of stuff there. I can't do it in my proper academic discipline. No. And I think, again, that's what I find really so helpful about how you think about these things, is that they're all the same classroom. Right? There aren't, in fact, the massive barriers that we think exist between your kind of classes and your kind of spaces and my kind of classroom and spaces in one of the very, kind of traditional disciplines. Are there differences? Of course there are. Yes, but how much more can we learn from each other?
Right, and I can't tell you how to use these methods, but I can show you these methods and tell you my thinking about them.
Yeah.
You can take the thinking about them and say, oh, I could try
I could try this, I could try that. Yeah. Even just
because
movement.
The result might be similar to what this person got in fine arts.
Yeah. To change direction a little bit, so I do want to talk about how you and I first met, which was in the Instructional Skills Workshop. First offered here in August of 2011, and then you and I would go on to co-facilitate the first ever completely in-house U of L faculty-only Instructional Skills Workshop in the summer of 2012. But continue with the same kind of theme. What can we learn from each other? What do we see faculty learning from each other in these small, intense 4-day workshops that we run? Kind of like, what you and I learned from each other in that very first one.
Well, what I learned really was the commitment and the passion. We bounce it around, but the commitment and the dedication and the deep interest in passing your subject matter on, in learning with your students. That was what it was just so powerful in that ISW. Like, I looked at you and thought, really? She does that? She spends that kind of time, to get that to happen? Oh my God. Just so impressed with the amount of work that people all across campus do put into their teaching, how obvious that was in that workshop. The amount of work, and again, the sort of creativity and how these things blossomed out of your love for your own profession. So it was very fun to meet you in that workshop. And one of the connectors, I think, was you teaching in the workshop, you have to teach very simple things, right? And teach outside your profession. The idea is that way you'll learn the method and you won't be all caught up in content, right? So you taught us the mountain pose in yoga. according to this method, which is so unlike how a yoga teacher would do it, but which was so informative. And I do yoga, and I thought, well, that was pretty good. I think that was just a wonderful moment. I think also, I don't know about you, but in that first ISW, we don't get to hear what's really going on inside our learners. I mean, I have students journal all the time because they're moving. I don't know what's going on for them. So I get them to reflect. And sometimes they're not very good at that. So they don't really tell me what's going on for them, which would be incredibly helpful because then I could adapt my learning, my teaching, so that it would be more suited to the way that they're learning. But in that workshop, that's very deliberate. And so what a gift. You teach something and then you get to hear like what all these really expert teachers and learners were learning while you were teaching. And I just thought you never get a chance to hear those voices.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when you were talking about in your mixed abilities class, and having students who maybe, don't really care about the protocol, which is to maybe not challenge the teacher. And they weren't shy about saying, I don't get this. And one of the real challenging, joyful moments of the ISW was having, a super smart, equally educated colleague say to you, I didn't understand you, and this is a 10-minute mini lesson in the simplest of things. And you think, man, if I can't explain something so simple to somebody so smart and educated and whatever, it's a miracle my students are getting anything from me at all.
I mean, it's not,
but being back in that learner mode for a few days with your colleagues like that across different disciplines, learning from each other was so powerful.
Even just hearing expectations like, oh, you're having us, stand and eat a carrot. I think that was one of my lessons.
That was one of yours,
Yeah, and it was like, what for? And I was like, well, it's so important that we understand. I was working on a show about food at that time, that we understand what food means to us. So, you have to have a piece of food there. And it was like, oh, yeah, the embodied experience. I realized, that's really pretty wacky to some people, Lisa. That's, like some people are not going to respect you, that teaching can come from eating a carrot. My intentions were not just, we're very high flown, but it keeps you honest and it keeps you humble and it keeps you on track and in a very collegial way. And that group that we did the first workshop with is such a supportive community. I know people say this over and over again about the ISW, but it's been such an incredible learning community for me.
Yeah, and breaking down those stereotypes. Again, I don't want to perhaps overdo the analogy, but as much as your students, all of your students in your mixed abilities class realized, hey, I've got something to learn on both sides of the aisle, if you will. One of the big eye-openers for me was, I do have a great deal I can learn from you in fine arts and from our colleagues in ed or from, like a hardcore basic scientist, a biochemist.
I mean,
and that was such an eye-opener for me.
Just to say, I thought your work on, assignment development or whatever it was spectacular. I thought, here's somebody, which is, how do you make facets of the assignment provide learning opportunities on many different fronts for students? And there were just so many things that I learned. I learned about RNA by tracing on a diagram with my finger. It was and the different, like you say, the different styles. Our education person, Robin, who would bring so much great stuff into the class props. And this is from grade school where they know that students need real objects and need the stimulation.
But stuff is fun.
Stuff is fun and engaging and it helps people learn. And, so, all of these things are fabulous. Yeah, and, when we facilitated together, after that, we became, these facilitators and we did the training together. And oh my God, going through and it's a real trial by fire because it's so intense. You've got these 4 days. It's kind of like going over a waterfall together or something. And then there we are, clutching our hands as we're entering to do our first ISW. And what a great adventure it was! What a fabulous group we had! How many different lessons we saw! How it all worked all over again. These are. We very, very lucky to have a teaching center that is investing in these kinds of people things, not in stuff things. I mean, stuff like, you know, online equipment and ideas, all of that is very important in this day and age. But to have this kind of real support for the kind of learning that is about people, you know, is great. Just great.
And the recognition that you always have so much more to learn. You know, as good as you think you might be, maybe you are as a teacher, take another risk, talk to another colleague, and there's just immediately some new idea that you want to try, or, you know. So what do you want to achieve as a Board of Governors teaching chair? Do you have a plan? It's a 2-year gig. You don't just sit here on camera talking to people all day, believe it or not. This is not just all we do. What else would you like to get done during your 2 years?
Well, I think, you know, in a position like this, the number one thing to me is sustain. You know, that's the foundation, is really have a look at what's going on. And it's not, things don't happen by themselves. I've watched you, and you're like running as fast as you can to sustain activity and bring it up a notch or direct it in certain directions. There's a lot going on. And so I think there's a lot of, you know, just, you know, work, just keeping those connections going, working with the staff, understanding what it is that they need and communicating. Listening all across campus to what the needs are in teaching, what's popping up, like this thing in health sciences of cultural competence, and what's popping up for people. You know, there's going to be new lab spaces in this new building. What's popping up about teaching and learning?
The new cohort program this fall, brand new for the university.
And just really being able to listen to that, because if you don't do that first as a teaching chair, then no matter what kind of innovation you want to, it'll just float out there, and then when you leave, it'll be gone. And I really want to work in partnership with the teaching fellows and with the teaching center and, you know, the deans and the administration, because really the teaching chair is about support of teaching on campus and support of students through teaching on campus. So I think that's a really big responsibility. But I do have, it's not boring like that. I mean, one of the visions I have that I, you know, alluded to earlier is, you know, what can the fine arts offer in this situation? You know, rather than being some kind of isolated satellite, how can we embed, you know, the kinds of teaching, the kinds of interests we have into this agenda better? And how can we have the teaching center, you know, also understand better what's happening in fine arts, and then over the long term understand ever better how support for teaching in the fine arts could be part of the agenda in the teaching center. And that's partisan, right? But it's also offering to others. And one of the commonalities that we've talked about is this idea of mentorship as a teaching and learning mode. I'm super interested in that. In the research I've been doing on art for social change, how do we get more people who are practitioners of art for social change? We have a lot of artists, we have a lot of social justice people. We don't often have that really well combined in one person. So how do we create those people? And, you know, it's mentorship. It's long-term mentorship. It's learning by doing and by observation and by feedback. And so that's in that research. I'm already starting down that path. And when I was talking to you, I realized, oh, the ISW, the Instructional Skills Workshop, is really a kind of peer mentorship thing. Really, ideally, that is. And then your work on Heart of Teaching and the other things you've been doing. So I'm really, really interested in the idea how mentorship works, so that the teaching center and the chair and the fellows can be really consciously thinking about themselves as being part of a mentorship, you know, operation. And what does that mean? What does that look? I don't know. I mean, we've got to work on it, and we've got to listen to people, and we've got to try a couple of things. But that's really where my interest lies. And it's I'm discovering it's like with students. You know, I think some of the best advice someone can give you as a teacher, you've got to meet your students where they are, and so too with faculty, right? And the listening, right? You've got to meet faculty where they are, and it doesn't matter how many, you know, funky ideas I might have. If that's not where faculty are at, then it won't be sustainable, right? To go back to the word that you used, it's not straightforward. You know, to identify your best teachers who are also
strong mentors, because we're not trained in that.
No.
You know, that's not the background for any of us, really. But then, what do faculty actually want? What do faculty actually need? How do we keep those conversations going between different faculties? And the very specific and unique contexts, absolutely, that you guys have in the Faculty of Fine Arts, or that our colleagues in Health Sciences or Management or Ed have. Arts and Science, such a big faculty, we tend to just kind of take everything over on this campus. We've all got our own unique context, but then, yeah, let's find all those points of connection and conversation. And it's not as
and
obvious
how can we help each other? Because I guess I want to pay it forward. I say in the instructional skills workshop and being fellow at the teaching center, I really felt like, oh, we're really helping each other, you know, and this feels really good. You know, teachers are isolated in the classroom. I mean, there's one of you and 20 or 100 or 300 of them. Yep. And this is how your day is spent. Yeah. And I think it's so important that there is time and place to feel like, no, I'm not isolated. No, I do have a community and a support.
And my problems aren't unique. And whatever just went horribly wrong in my class today has gone horribly wrong in somebody else's class before, and you will survive this.
Right. And what does it look like? And also, you know, hey, I'm a really good teacher. It's worth it for me to share my successes and what I'm good at, because who knows that might help some young person who's coming in, or even an older person whose situation is changing. It might really help that person have a better time teaching, the students have a better time learning in that classroom, and the university be a better university, because we're all doing our job better. Yeah, the overall quality of teaching kind of continues to edge up and edge up and edge up as we have more and more of these conversations. Because we're offering, mentorship to each other. We're saying, this really works. Well, let me think, why does that work? Yeah. And how could that work for you? It's so great. Yeah. And I think, of course, other things happen when you begin those conversations, those positive conversations. Yeah. Lots of other things happen. Lots of other barriers on campus, I think, break down by talking about teaching with each other. Yeah. I mean, your initiative of Open Doors, again, is, Open Doors means this teacher says, anybody can come and watch me teach today. I'm doing this lesson. And, again, saying, the door isn't closed. This really is a project that we share. I thought that was so brilliant. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Think about space and movement. Yes. See? Moving different people into different kinds of spaces. Exactly. It's a very Lisa Doolittle kind of approach to things, I like to think. Yeah, we can choreograph this. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming to talk to me today, Lisa. I think it's going to be a great year ahead working together. I do too. Let's get to it. Yeah, let's do this. I'm looking forward. Good, thanks. Thank you.